Alright, you would not believe how freaking hot it is in here. But the legend must continue. As the Hood Attorney. This game is called Dual Destinies, but honestly it's more like Triple Destinies. The courtroom bombing incident. A terrible attack launched by the will of a madman. That incident perfectly symbolized the state of the legal world in this dark age of the law. Mr. Wright brought it to a resolution of sorts. Ted Tenate was discovered to be the one responsible for the bombing. If only it were that simple. Somehow, I can't help but think that there's a darker influence at work. One that's lurking in the shadows, waiting. That's why I want to review the trial that was taking place when the bombing occurred. After all, I've got more than a few personal stakes in it. So I guess we're assuming this is not the last episode. Okay. Episode 4, The Cosmic Turnabout. Okay then. A rocket basically blew up and then some guy dragged an astronaut into a room. And there was a knife wound in his chest. December 16th, 9:12 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 5. Oh, we're straight into trial. Time for another trial to begin. But this one's different. Sorry to bother you, but... Oh, what's up, Juniper? She's been in this game a lot. Are you alright, Apollo? Was making a scary face just now? Oh, hi, Juniper. Yes, I'm fine. I was just doing my core to steel exercises. Now I'm all ready to go. Yes, knowing you, I'm sure you'll be just fine. Oh, I brought you a present for my garden. Is this a lotus fruit? That's right. My grandma says lotus fruit is good for your eyes. She even says that if you look through the holes, it can help you see into the future. It's for good luck. Maybe later you can cook it. Thanks for this. I'm gonna have some right now. Oh my. Kinda tough though. You can't eat it raw, but thank you for the enthusiastic try. Whoops. She didn't think me weird before, she will now. I need to calm down. Apollo, sorry I'm late. What's up, Dina? Junie, I didn't know you were coming today. Did you come to cheer Apollo on? I get it, you sly little thing, you. Dina, stop. Quit joking around it, Dina. The trial's about to start any second. Is everything all set? Oh, Apollo, Apollo. When will you ever figure it out? Figure what out? Wow, that was the longest sigh I've ever heard. Yeah, that was a sigh. This is it. It's all over for me. They're gonna find me guilty. This is our client, one Mr. Solomon Soul Starbuck. He's a very famous astronaut who happens to be an acquaintance of mine. You wouldn't know it right now, but he's usually a very upbeat and driven person. The scene of the crime this time happened to be the Cosmos Space Center. Back in high school, my best friend and I went there almost a little too much. Was he your best friend, or is he just some acquaintance? Well, he said it was acquaintance. But that's where he met Mr. Starbuck. We asked about space travel, and he'd launch into story after story with so much passion. Back in those days, the man was 100% my hero. Are you sure you're okay with being my lawyer, Paulo? Of course I'm sure. I know you, Mr. Starbuck. I know you're not the type to commit murder. Thanks, but... I was supposed to be in space right about now. He's so depressed. It almost seems like an act. Launching and call off must have been a huge shock. I'll probably never get the chance to go into space again. Don't say that. Don't stop believing. Don't stop chasing the dream. Besides, you just have to go into space again. Yeah, I don't think I could face Clay in that afterlife if I just rotted away in a cell. Clay Terran. I can't believe he was murdered. I mean, he was such a promising astronaut under your command. Yeah, he was a good guy. Always there to pick me up when I was down. But no one loved life as much as him. That's for sure. He was always so full of energy, telling me, "You're fine, Mr. Starbuck." How could something like this happen to a guy like him? Never seen this dude so down. Don't do it again. Clay is gone, and I'm going to prison. I wish I could burn up like a shooting star right on now. Mr. Starbuck, you'll be fine. Ah, what is it? What's with the yelling? I'll get to the bottom of this, you'll see. And in exchange, I want you to go back into space for you and Clay. Promise? Does that mean you have lots of evidence to prove my innocence? Oh, well, about that. We, didn't really get to investigate the area as much as I liked, thanks to the police. I'm done for. I'm fucked. Everybody thinks I did it. No, I was gonna soar like a comet, but I'm just gonna crash like a meteorite. No, don't say that, Mr. Starbuck. Don't count yourself out just yet. I know it's hard to lose a teammate, but you've got to keep going. And what about you, Apollo? What about me? I was just thinking. Wasn't Clay your best friend? We need to focus on the trial right now. Who the fuck was Clay again? Wait, who was Clay? Wait. Who's Clay? Clay Terran. Oh, that's him. The guy who was killed. Okay, here we go. This is it. This one trial I can't afford to lose. For Clay's sake and our clients, I will find Clay's killer. December 16th, 9:55 a.m. District Courtroom, number 4. Whew. Canada Dry is so spicy. All rise. Court is now in session. The defense is okay, so this is after the bombing. Or is it? When did he get that eye scar? When did he get that eye scar? Wait, is this before the bombing? No. This is after the bombing. That's what he said in the beginning, right? He wants to go to this trial. Yeah, this is after. Okay. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Excuse me, Mr. Justice. Yes, Your Honor. What happened to your eye? Or was that from the bombing? I'm fine. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Are you sure? I don't... I'm fine, Your Honor. Fuck, the defense is ready. Sorry, Your Honor. He's been like this since yesterday. She's insisting it's just a sty? Huh. Well, I guess it's something he doesn't want to discuss. Maybe he's entering a touchy age. Oh, okay then. And the prosecution. The prosecution appears to be ready as well.
Silence.
Not yet. I'm not quite ready yet. Oh? There we go. Here we go with this shit again. What the? Why is a case there? The prosecution is now ready. Well, didn't take him long this time. What's up with Blackwell? Now then, I should give the opening statement.
Silence.
I'll do it. Okay, yeah, now there's really something wrong with this dude. He's actually gonna do the opening statement. You will? Well, oh, an unexpected surprise. Actually, you should be doing it in the first place. This time, I can't leave it to anyone else. I see. Huh. Something is off with the two of you today. That's what I'm saying. You both seem different somehow. Whatever then. Professor Tobacco, your opening statement, if you will. It was just yesterday. The crime in question occurred at the Cosmos Space Center. Ah, the famous Federal Research Facility. Of all things related to astrology, right? Astronomy. It's astronomy. Anyway, a rocket was set to launch from there. But at 9:28 a.m., before they could even move the rocket to the launch site, that was the explosion. 2 explosive devices were detonated, and the launch was cancelled. My word, 2 bombs? How dreadful. The defendant in today's trial was charged with both the bombing and with murder. One Mr. Solomon Starbuck. For whatever inane reason, he detonated the bomb on the rocket he himself would be in. Solomon Starbuck? I recognize that name. Isn't he that famous brand of cop? The famous astronaut. Correct your relative. Mr. Starbuck was the pilot of HAT-1 rocket 7 years ago. As you may recall, despite some interstellar trouble, his mission was a success. Some say it was a miracle he returned alive. I suppose you could say he's a living legend. Oh, I remember now. He's become something of an international celebrity, right? They even turned the incident into a movie and everything. We've got a real space pioneer in court today. But even heroes tumble from their lofty heights. Returning to the subject at hand. Oh, right. The victim was one Mr. Clay Terran. Why do people say like one Clay Terran? What if it was 2 Clay Terran? 3? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know why people say that. A subordinate of the defendant. Indeed. A loyal disciple brutally stabbed to death by his mentor. Stabbed to death, you say? You mean his death wasn't a result of the bombing? Correct. Despite his lofty dreams, the victim was seen as an interloper by the defendant. And so, he was sent not into space, but to the universe, which we mortals could not see. Clay. I think I've heard enough. The case seems to be clear cut at this point. However, there is one thing I'm curious about. That metal box next to the witness stand. Exactly, that's what I was questioning about too. Why is that still there? What purpose does it serve exactly? Sent to you asked so nicely. No, this is the case before the bombing. It's your coffin. Ah! Have mercy on me! Just kidding. It's evidence. Due to its immense size, we have little choice but to lay it where it rests now. We shall get to the... Right, this is before the bombing. Right? Yeah. Whew. I feel like I just lost 50 years of my life. Does it even have 50 years left? Jeez. Inner monologue, Athena. Inner monologue. Enough jabbering. Oh my god, I thought he was gonna call a bird. Oh wait, that is a bird. Bobby Fulbright's the name. Injustice we are the game. Oh, Detective Fulbright. Alrighty then. Please explain the details of the incident to the court. On it. First, take a look at this pamphlet from the Cosmos Space Center. In it, you'll find a diagram outlining the overall layout of the Space Center. Okay. Ah, here we are. For a more detailed look at what's on the left side of the building, take a look at this cross-section that we, the police, have created. See the launch pad in the main building? The launch pad is a square building, and the ramp structure is the main building, right? Got it. The incident took place in Launch Pad 1 and in the main building's lounge. I'll be using this diagram during my testimony. It'll make it easier to understand. Okay. I'm trying to get that like little poster as a testimony thing, or not testimony, evidence. Just before the rocket was set to launch, 2 bombs went off. Boom, boom. On the second floor of the Space Center's main building. No, one on the second floor of the Space Center's main building, and one in Launch Pad 1. Okay. Thankfully, only the two astronauts were in Launch Pad 1 at the time. The two of them managed to make it back as far as the boarding lounge. But after the escape, one of the two was found stabbed to death. Huh. A murder on top of a bombing. Detective, the victim was already dead by the time you arrived at the lounge, correct? Yup. Thinking he'd sabotaged the bombing, the defendant attacked and killed the victim. Just look at this tragic photo. Oh my, is that a knife in the victim's chest? Yes, Your Honor. It is a knife that cruelly ended this young man's dreams. We couldn't get any prints off of it though, because the defendant was in his spacesuit. Right, makes sense. But so then you can't technically prove that what's-his-name stabbed him if there's no prints on it. Well, I guess there's the only two. Why are the victim's helmet and right glove absent in this photograph? We had to remove them to identify him, Your Honor. I personally removed his glove during the investigation. We had to get his fingerprints to confirm his identity after all. Right. It would be very difficult to identify him without a face or fingerprints. Now there's just one more thing I'd like to ask about. What is the surrounding of the victim in this photo? Something so important to the victim, he took it with him as he escaped to the launch pad. A capsule that apparently contains asteroid samples. While obviously valuable for research purposes, it has no relation to this case. Okay. So, we know that the bomb in the main building was on the second floor. But where was the bomb that was in Launch Pad 1 located? That one was on the rocket itself. It was situated around the central part of the rocket. Apparently, the area around the launch pad's elevator was a sea of flames. I would like to submit this diagram and report into the record. Bombing report. Is this the full diagram or just okay? Starting ordering and buying. You get used to it. Besides, what's the country from, right? What the astronauts were doing during the bombing? That's the key. Okay. It's one of the trials where like you don't investigate it firsthand, so you just go off the evidence they gave you. I actually like these trials. Whew. They tend to be easier. Round 1. Hold it! How powerful were the explosions? Well, the one in the main building wasn't strong enough to bring the place down, but the room it went off in was burned black. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Due in large part, of course, to me stepping up to lead the evacuation. Wait, what were you doing there in the first place, Detective Fulbright? Ha ha ha! I am Bobby Fulbright, hero of justice. I'll be there, wherever and whenever people need my help. I go to the other side of the world, or even the edge of the universe. I'm not sure he knows how far that actually is. Well, I'll leave that alone. Admirable decision, young justice. Huh? What did he decide? Anyway, the bomb cut the power to the central bank of elevators. Wait, the bomb cut the power to the central bank of elevators. It was pitch black in there, I tell you. However, the security cameras and whatnot were in emergency backup. Okay, and how did the evacuation go? I immediately and heroically whisked people down to the Space Center's basement shelter. The basement shelter? Right, there's an emergency shelter beneath the Space Center. An emergency shelter, eh? Ah, here it is. It's at the bottom of the diagram. Yeah, B1. But wait, how did you do that? The Space Center is pretty impressive to have its own shelter. The bomb went off despite tight security. Okay, I didn't read that. I'll get in a second after press release statements. The power outage and evacuation seem unrelated to the murder at this point. Let's leave that aside for now. Okay. Let me get this straight. Mr. Starbuck rigged a rocket he was going to board with explosive? Huh? What are you talking about? If the defendant really did plant the bomb on his own rocket, he'd get caught in the explosion as well. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. You really haven't? Fine. A simpleton for a simpleton. Fulbright, the motive. Was it finna kamikaze? Understood. The defendant actually had an astrophobia. Astrophobia? What the hell is that? A fear of space, naturally. Just the thought of space can cause a foot to freeze up. You're telling me an astronaut had astrophobia? You're telling me an astronaut had a fear of space? And so, in his terror, the defendant found a way to stop the launch at the last minute. I'm pretty sure you can. That's ridiculous. Fortunately for you, we have evidence. Take a look at these. What are they? What are they? These are anti-anxiety tablets. And they were found in the defendant's possession. Apparently, he was taking them in secret to quell his fears. There were a multitude of problems with the rocket Mr. Stoddard wrote 7 years ago. Rumor has it he threatened to crash a number of times as well. That was, of course, very traumatic from his. Oh, okay. I guess it makes sense. That doesn't mean he'd go so far as to blow up his own ship.
Silence.
The defendant couldn't bear Tamara's good name now, could he? Whoops. Not so after the media had branded him Soul Starbuck, space pioneer extraordinaire. Given these conditions, the defendant could hardly run away from some base smuts. Wait, so that's why you think he resorted to the bombing? Naturally, he constructed this act of sabotage in an attempt to blow up the Space Center, which would effectively abort the launch, but spare his reputation. Now I'm sure you can understand why we had to bring justice down on this atrocious criminal. Are you sure it was only the two of them? It was just before the spaceship was set to launch, so of course it was only those two. Well, there could have been somebody else inside that rocket.
Silence.
The notion of a third party in Launchpad 1 is utterly absurd. Just to enter the area from the lounge, one must pass through a door guarded by a fingerprint recognition device, and allow me to state up front that there are precious few with the clearance to do so. A fingerprint recognition device? Sounds as futuristic and complex as the Space Center. Actually, it's not as amazing as you think, Your Honor. Take a look at this photo. This is a door in a lounge with a fingerprint lock. Only personnel whose fingerprints are registered can pass through. Oh, okay. That is very different from what I had in mind. Okay, why was that so slow? And is there a record of the number of people that passed through that door yesterday? Yes, there were only 3. The defendant, the victim, and the director of the Space Center, Yuri Cosmos. Then doesn't that mean it's possible that the director is the one who did it? Not a chance. He was in the main building when the bombs exploded at 9:28. Doing his job directing the launch. Besides having an alibi, he has no motive for committing these senseless acts. He does have a point. I guess the director can't be considered a suspect then. Gotcha. We're just getting evidence though. It's all good. So, while it would appear that the pair barely escaped their lives, in actuality, one of them had already been murdered inside the rocket. Oh, I get you. Okay. That's the angle the prosecution wants to push, right? You got it. In fact, that's what I've been trying to say this whole time. If the victim had been alive, he would have for sure tried to stop the bombing. Is there any chance Mr. Tarrant could have been killed before he boarded the rocket? They were both alive and well at boarding time, and embarked under their own power. Their hearts full of hopes and dreams of space. And then both of their hopes and dreams are dashed. The defendant made his escape, carrying the victim to make it look like a rescue. Okay, and who was the first to find the victim? Actually, there were 2 of them. The Space Center director, Yuri Cosmos, and Detective Candace Arndt. One of them was a detective? Yup. Detective Arm specialized in bombings, you see. She and the director were ordering the evacuation following the explosions. They were also worried about the astronauts they heard over to the boarding lounge. That's when they discovered the victim along with the defendant. Two witnesses, huh? One of them is a detective. I doubt either one of them would have anything to say that would help me. I think that pretty much covers up the details of this case. Only the victim and the defendant were on the launch pad when the former was killed. If this is the truth, then only Mr. Starbuck could have carried out this crime. What little I could get out of him will only hurt my case. Young Justice. Foolish is the warrior who rushes headlong into battle. Preparation is an essential element of battle, so I advise you to take a gander at this. What is it? Footage from a security camera. As the two astronauts emerged from the bowels of the Launch Pad 1 corridor, the boarding lounge security camera captured their desperate escape. Now, I would direct your attention to what the defendant is shouldering. What you can see is none other than the lifeless body of the victim. What? Okay. Everybody relax, everybody relax. This lines up exactly what the prosecutor's been asserting. I should have known Black Hole would have something like that ready. Okay. Apollo? How exactly did they determine that Clay was already gone in that footage? Oh, that's a good point. Whether Clay was still alive at that point is pretty crucial. Your Honor, please take another look at the footage. Isn't it possible that Mr. Terran was still alive here, and that Mr. Stoddard was helping him? Why, I believe you're right. One man carrying the other to safety. What a brief expression of friendship.
Silence.
Perhaps that's what it looks like to a one-eyed hothead and a dotard. But it only makes sense if it's the victim's dead body. What do you mean? Fulbright, explain to young Justice. You got it. Ready, kid. If the murder had occurred in a lounge, someone could have spotted it. Anyone can enter the lounge after all. But doing it while they were alone in the spaceship, that's a horse of a different color.
Objection!
But you can't deny that there's a possibility that the murder could have happened in a lounge. All that video shows is a man helping his fellow astronaut out.
Silence.
Your assertion is based on emotion. It's based in your belief that Mr. Starbuck would surely help his own disciple. Or is it disciple? I think it's disciple, actually. But you have no logical explanation as to why the victim could still be alive. Unfortunately, Mr. Justice, the prosecution is right. Your argument is lacking in sound logic. It sounds perfectly logical to me. Well, young Justice, if you have no further objections, I believe it's time to bring this cross-examination to an end. Objections? Well, Okay, Athena. Your Honor, the defense requests a little time to think and regroup. Given the facts, I'm not sure I see the need. What is it, Athena? It's just... there's something that's been bothering me. If it isn't the defense stalling for time, as always. Very well, I'm feeling generous. You may have a small measure of time. Alright. You have 30 seconds. 5 seconds. 5 seconds? After that, I declare this cross-examination to be closed, and a verdict to be rendered. Your baldness, raise your gavel high. It's time for a countdown. Oh. Ready? We don't have time. Spit it out, Athena. Only 3 more seconds. Look. I don't think the prosecution's explanation is very complete. Meaning? Meaning there's something missing. Like, they conveniently left it unexplained? Something they didn't explain. So explain. Ah, you're right. I think I know what you're talking about. Your 5 seconds are up, Mr. Justice. Is there anything about the prosecution's argument you'd like to rebut? Yes, Your Honor. Actually, there is. There's something that the prosecution has yet to make clear to this court. Well, you put it that way. What is it that the prosecutor has failed to explain? Why the body... Actually, yeah, why was the body moved, right? Because no one would go into that launch pad area. So, actually, it would be smarter to leave it in there. They failed to explain why Mr. Starbuck would bother bringing the body back at all. If the defendant wanted to kill the victim, why didn't you just leave the body in the rocket? Why go through the trouble of bringing him all the way back to the boarding lounge? Oh, that's true. I don't think we've heard the prosecutor's thought on that one yet. That's because they haven't, on Your Honor. After all, how does one explain something so illogical? The prosecution is claiming that the defendant moved the victim's dead body. But what if the entire premise of that argument is wrong? Then let's hear your three, Mr. Justice. Alright. The defense proposes that the defendant didn't kill the victim. He was helping him. Ah! Fulbright, explain for our sad friend here before I nod off to his monotone monologue. Informing him exactly why Space Boy moved the victim. Huh? They've got it joking. It's simple. Mr. Starbuck did what he did to direct suspicion away from himself. He wanted to create the impression he heroically risked his life to save his partner. That's why he made sure to make it to the security cameras, so there'd be a record. At the very least, he appears to have achieved success with you and the old man. One man carrying the other to safety would be a pleasure of friendship. The average person wearing a spacesuit weighs easily over 200 pounds. Saving the life of a partner who weighs as much while trying to escape deadly flames. What a dramatic sob story, fit for the silver screen. Indeed, I was completely taken in by the humanity of the story. You see, yet the true ending is that all traces of this hammy act were meant to be blown up. Yes, and now we arrive at the thrilling conclusion. The third explosion. The third explosion? What are you talking about? There was no third explosion.
Silence.
Indeed, you are correct. But that is thanks to Detective Arm. It was she who identified and secured the bomb. However, it doesn't change the fact that the third bomb was discovered in the lounge. The steel coffin beside the witness stand. That would be a bomb transport case. We use that to transport the deactivated bomb here. It was found in the lounge. A bomb in the form of a most distasteful toy. Whoa. Is it the same bomb as before? What? One on the second floor of the main building, one on the launch pad, and one in the lounge. The defendant planned to set off 3 firework displays. Fortunately, the third was discovered before it could be detonated, for had it not, the victim's body and other vital evidence would surely have been immolated.
Objection!
Yeah. Before you utter a word, know that the evidence supports me. It's like he's reading my mind. As it is still undergoing forensic investigation, I do not have the evidence on hand. However, note that a peculiar item was found in one of Mr. Starbuck's pockets. Specifically, a bomb detonation switch. You found what? That's the switch that was also in the first case. But remember, this takes place before the bombing. No. He said this is a case that happened during the bombing, right? Right? I don't remember. I suspect the defendant had no time to destroy such damning evidence. When the Space Center director and Detective Arm stumbled across the murder, so he thought to hide it in his pocket. Feeble brain, that is. No, that he is. No! Mr. Starbuck would never do anything like that. Skip it. God. Apollo, answer me. Apollo, Apollo, young justice. Open your eyes and see the truth. This appears to be irrefutable evidence that the accused itself the explosions. No, there's gotta be some kind of mistake. This can't be the truth. Still can't accept it. You'll believe in your client, come what may. Then why don't you cross-examine the defendant himself? This has gotta be a trap. It's like Black was controlling the entire game. Yeah, it seemed like he was waiting for me to bring up the body moving issue. Why do you say that? Because he had just the right argument when I pointed it out. And to really rub it in, he had a decisive piece of evidence up his sleeve too. He was trying to shake my faith in Mr. Starbuck and break me down. Then making cross-examine Mr. Starbuck at this point was part of his plan too. Totally underhanded, but I wouldn't expect anything less from him. Now, let us hear from the arch-villain, the fiendish murderer himself, famed astronaut Solomon Starbuck. Witness your name and occupation, please. Solomon Starbuck, astronaut. How did this happen? Starbuck, you aren't looking very well. Will you be able to give testimony? No. Well, unfortunately, no is not an option. Then why'd you ask? You are being accused of the Space Center bombing and the murder of Clay Terran. Please testify to these allegations. Mind if I take the suit off? It's getting really heavy.
Silence.
It's not the weight of the suit that you feel, but of your sins. Prepare to carry that weight for the rest of your life. Banish me to the moon. I don't care anymore. Wow, that was super negative. Is this dude gonna be okay up there? He'll be fine, I think. As long as he doesn't totally give up and say he did it, that is. Okay. Come on, Starbuck. All I did was support Clay on my shoulder and get us out of the rocket. Like always, I took the elevator down to the middle level and headed for the corridor. Clay had passed out. What the hell is he doing? Clay had passed out by the time we got the order to evacuate. I didn't kill Clay. I was trying to save him. So you assert you didn't set off the bombs or murder the victim. But I bet you think I'm lying, right? I reserve all judgment until after I've heard your full testimony. I'm sure you don't believe me. I bet you don't even believe I'm an astronaut. I don't think the judge doubts that. Who'd wear a suit like that except an astronaut? Well, I will say that when I saw you in that movie, you appeared quite courageous. Though, I suppose reality never quite lives up to fantasy. I guess I'm just a big disappointment. I really don't care what happens anymore. Oh boy, he's really giving up. What a depressing fellow. If you were to join me in the clink, I imagine that annoying sighing of yours would rub off on the others in like other inmates. Like how it rubbed off on Mr. Blackwell a second ago. Huh? That was Blackwell sighing? That system contains a glaring contradiction. The question is, what does it mean? Even if Starbuck is my client, I can't be gun-shy now. I need to find out the truth. Round one there. Let me look at the evidence first. Autopsy report. The victim was discovered in the third floor boarding room lounge in the main building. Got it. What is that white thing? What's that white thing? I have no idea what that is. Space on a diagram. Lower level, elevator, middle level, ladder. Okay. To the knife. Victim's bullet is found on a blade, but no fingerprints could be lifted. Bombing report. The explosion sparked a fire on the second floor of the main building and on the middle level of the launch pad near the elevator. Okay. The bombs went off despite tight security. Police officers and riot police who had been standing by gave evacuation instructions. Police officer and riot officer gave evacuation instructions immediately. There was a power outage and the affected areas remained dark. What areas were affected? The security system switched over to the emergency power and continued to work. And evacuees moved to the basement smelter. Defendant victim answers and practice. Only the principal director Cosmos Starbuck Terran are authorized. An independent security company managed to use records. Attempts to use prints. Okay. Lounge. Okay. So what you're saying is that the victim was still alive at that time. Of course. He was alive and well.
Silence.
If so, then you maybe took a man who was alive and well. You silenced him criminally. With this? What? No. Black hole confirmed, dead ahead. It's no good, Captain. I'm getting sucked in.
Objection!
It's Starbuck. You are not in space. Please, you're testing me seriously. Wait, what? You took the elevator down to the middle level? Look. There is no elevator to the middle level. Oh, down. No, he was in low level. That makes sense. That's how you're gonna get into the rocket. Up to the middle level. Okay. But the power is out, so that doesn't exactly make any sense yet.
Hold it!
It's at the elevator inside the launch pad area. That's right. We always used to get to it from the cockpit. That makes sense. So he was just using the route he always used. Despite the fact that it had just been an explosion. Huh? I'm sorry, it's hiding something pretty big. But if the elevators weren't working, then how the hell could he have gotten out there?
Hold it!
Passed out. Why was he passed out? Probably because of the explosion. Noise and vibration were incredible. No wonder he passed out, right? Yeah, I've been hit by space debris. The main engine's on fire. It's gonna blow. Yeah, right, I see. Guess it makes sense that someone would pass out. Anyways.
Hold it!
Don't worry, I understand. I'll make sure everything turns out alright. I took the elevator down to the middle level. No, look. What? The elevator down to the middle level? That doesn't make any sense. The elevator down to the middle level. There is no elevator down to the middle level. And even if there was, the power was out. There's no elevator down to the middle level. But I mean, I think he meant he took the elevator up to the middle level, but I don't know if that's like, because I'm pretty sure the actual thing is there is a blackout, so the elevator shouldn't have been working. Right? That's what I'm assuming. And effective areas remain dark. Power outage, elevators run out of power. Right? I'm right in thinking this, right? Except if I get this wrong. I actually got that wrong. So you're telling me even in a power outage, the elevators are still working? Right, okay. So then it's a diagram.
Objection!
Yeah. No? You're out of your mind. What? The explosion sparked a fire on the second floor of the main building in the middle of the watchman. Why you took that in the middle? Well, why would you go down to the middle level? There's a fire. Is that the objection? That's the objection. Okay, or the contradiction. Mr. Starbuck, I need your testimony to be as accurate as possible. But was I not being accurate? No, because it's impossible for you to have taken the elevator down to the middle level. What makes you say that, Mr. Justice? I mean, first off, because there was a fucking power outage, so I don't see how you can use an elevator when there's no power supplying the elevator. Please recall when the bomb went off in Launch Pad 1. Also recall that after the explosion, the middle level elevator was engulfed in flames. Oh, you're right. Which means, exactly. The launch pad's elevator would have been unusable. In other words, Mr. Starbuck, you're niggering me. What's with the helmet? Mission command, do you read me? Come in, please.
Objection!
This is mission command. I order you to pay attention. Stop this bullshit and answer my question, Starbuck. My helmet. My oxygen tank. Oxygen concentration and body temperature declining. Requesting medical assistance. This dude's a clown. Starbuck, we are not in space right now. Stop pretending you have lost consciousness and stand up. I apologize, Your Honor. I forgot I was still on Earth. I feel like we all just got a real glimpse of Solomon Starbuck as the astronaut. Yeah, he seemed like an astronaut now when he was doing all that sighing. Starbuck, could you please explain the inconsistency in your test and your statement? And about how you use a middle level elevator? I was nervous and I said the wrong thing. Sorry. I actually took a different route, I think. A different route? I hope you're able to deliver a straight story this time. I'll get it right this time. Maybe... No, I mean probably. Probably. It's understandably nervous, but let me remind you, accuracy and paramount is... accuracy... Okay. My escape route. Let's see, my escape route. What I said before was a mistake. I remember now. I took a different route. Maybe... probably... the capsule and clay in my arms. I made my way down from the upper level. That's it? So you're saying you escaped without using the elevator. But how? That's right. There's a ladder that spans the upper and middle levels. I used that ladder to get to the middle level. But how would you use a ladder if you're carrying something in both your arms, right? You need at least one hand to use a ladder, up or down. The scout's that important that you'd risk your life to take it with you. It almost goes without saying. But yeah, the capsule contains an asteroid. The capsule contains asteroid samples. Therefore, it's invaluable as research material. With a spacesuit on, Clay weighed a ton, but carrying a capsule is also important. I need you to answer to the best of your ability. Mr. Starbuck, please remember that your verdict is riding on your testimony. Maybe I am guilty after all. I wonder if you can see the stars in prison, but it's more comfortable than a spaceship. Anyways, round 2. How could you make mistakes? How could you mistake such a basic fact? Hey, everybody makes mistakes, but try thinking about the vastness of space instead. Without doing anything, Emergency takes full light to travel to a nearest neighboring star. So you see, compared to the vast expanse of space, human error is insignificant. Or should consider it just a little more significant than 0. Maybe, probably. Did I hear you right, Mr. Starbuck? I had to say either of those things. Mission control, come in, please. Narrow's current sound system. Activate the emergency tin can telephone. Oh no! Silence glances, or I will sever you and your tin can telephone. Alright, I'm begging you, I'll tell the truth. Just don't sever anything. Apollo, is it gonna be alright? Nah, I'm thinking he's not. I'm my way down from the upper level. The upper level of the launch pad area. That's right. That's what I said, isn't it? Granted, that route does exist. So to recap, you had Clay over your right shoulder and the capsule in your left hand. Yep, it's really important. So I couldn't let it get burned up. So even Clay was really couldn't afford to carry him with both hands. I don't think the meaning of what he just said has hit him yet. Huh. You know what you have to do with that statement. Young Justice. Yeah, I know. Well, come this far. Bring back. So yeah, you couldn't have climbed the ladder with both the things in your hand. Mr. Starbuck, why don't you just tell the truth? The truth? Let's see. The Earth is blue. No. That's not right. So, I guess the Earth isn't blue. Right, that's it. The truth, Mr. Starbuck. The oxygen concentration is super low in this area. Prepare the emergency oxygen tank. Mr. Justice, the witness appears confused. Please help draw the truth from him. Alright. Mr. Starbuck, under the circumstances at the time, you couldn't possibly have reached the boarding lounge via the upper level route. Huh? Not as long as this was along the escape route. The ladder. Take this. To get down from the upper to the middle level, where the launch pad 1 corridor is, you would have to go down the ladder. Isn't that right, Mr. Starbuck? Of course. That was the only way we could escape.
Objection!
No. But how the hell would that work? At the time, you were supporting Mr. Terran over your shoulder, weren't you? And remember, he was in full space gear as well, putting him at over 200 pounds. Well, it's easy on the moon. Gravity's only 1/6 of what it is on Earth.
Objection!
No. Bishop Space Center is on Earth. Short of being an octopus, climbing a ladder with an adult male in space gear in one arm, while carrying the capsule in your other, is impossible, wouldn't you say? Oh. So, Starbuck, how the fuck did you climb down the ladder with your arms full? Mr. Starbuck, Come clean and tell us the truth. Now. Engineer, where's the engineer? Oxygen leak detected due to faulty maintenance. Evacuate. He has a. Oh my gosh. What the? He's flying to coop. Literally. Help. Call the ceiling. Help. Anyone? Bailiff, prepare the cherry picker. We need to launch our investigation at once. Well, that's one way to take off while being questioned. I'd rather prove his innocence so we can go to space again for something for real. Well then, Starbuck, do you think you can keep your feet planted on the ground this time? Yeah, sorry for losing control. You ready to tell us the truth? Not that. Anything but that. What the hell's going on? This isn't the Starbuck I know. It appears Space Boy is prone to deception. Witness. Yikes. Yes. I thought your story odd, but perhaps the inconsistencies can be explained as the result of a medical side effect. Yeah, Prosecutor Blackwell, please don't talk about that. What are you talking about, Prosecutor Blackwell? Didn't I already state that Space Boy is, ironically, terrified of going into space? That's why he took some precautions just before the launch. For you see, traces of this anti-anxiety drug were found in his system. Oh. I sense things are about to get... Hold it, you got it all wrong. I told him during the investigation too. I don't know anything about any drugs. I never took any medication, I swear. It was found in his system, but he doesn't remember taking it? How could that be? Somebody must have slipped into me. But I guess maybe that's why I don't remember. Because of side effects? Yeah, that's why I don't remember much about what really happened. What? Everyone relax. We can't get a useful testimony out of him if he doesn't remember anything. Well, it certainly explains why his testimony keeps changing. Why didn't he just tell me he couldn't remember? I guess he didn't want anybody to find out he was terrified of going to space. Maybe I really did do it. Which brings us to the answer of our original question of how the witness climbed down the ladder with a dead body. It does. So what is it? A dead man feels no pain and makes no complaints, young justice. So the body was simply dropped down from the top of the ladder. Oh my, I see. And then the defendant could climb down with his free hand. Drop the body down? Who would do such a disrespectful thing? But besides, dropping the body down will leave marks on the body itself. That's a good point. So you are capable of quick thinking. Yes, you are correct. Really? Well, he does have a spacesuit on, so it might cushion it. Huh? What's this? It's the oxygen tank from the spacesuit. It's ruptured, and I'm sure you can figure out why. Yep. You can't be implying it ruptured when the defendant dropped the victim's body. I am, for they fracture easily when struck. Even if that's true, the tank's explosion and shrapnel would leave marks on the body. Yet, according to the autopsy report, only the knife wound was found on the victim's body. You're clearly grasping at straws with this line of reasoning. Okay, Apollo, get at him. A spacesuit isn't heavy for the sake of being heavy, young justice. It includes the latest technological devices and is made of fabric of tomorrow. This fabric is made to protect astronauts from the dangers of space. So falling a few Earth yards would hardly leave a mark on the wearer. Then shouldn't it be possible to stab someone through it as well? Or impossible? It should, and yet, through sheer coincidence, the knife slipped through a weak spot in the suit structure and found its way to its target. What are the chances? You forget that our killer is an astronaut himself with knowledge of how the suits work. He got me there. And now my argument has been proven. Spaceboy killed the victim in the rocket, and then dropped his body from the upper level. After climbing down, he shouldered the body and made sure the camera recorded him. There's no room for debate about these facts. It's clear that Solomon Starbuck is the only one who could have killed Clay Terrence. Here's the report regarding the astronaut's oxygen tanks. Consider my send-off gift. Feel free to use it as payment to cross the river Styx. Jeez. Skip it. Yuck. Hey, this report is pretty detailed. Let's see. The display in the astronaut's left shoulder shows how much oxygen remains. I guess that means he's glowing cyan digits represent the amount of oxygen remaining. I'm done for. I'm in a prison instead of space. Space boy. Yeah, yes. Take heart. The bejeweled night sky is still beautiful, even when viewed through bars. You mean the stars are as seen from prison? That's right. Your facility, your spaceship. Picture the view through the iron bars. It's like being an astronaut in your own craft for all time. That's not a half-bad thought. Starbuck? Prosecutor Black was got to him good. Spaceship prison cell. Fly me, my guilt, and my despair into the deepest, darkest space. And then, let's get sucked into a black hole together.
Objection!
Starbuck, you can't give up hope. Oh wait, yes, hello? What is that? There's some weird noise going on, but whatever. You know, Clay really looked up to you. He said you're an incredible man. He said you never give up your dreams and passion for space, no matter the situation. He said that? So don't give up now and help me prove your innocence. For the sake of the man who respected you and believed in you. Clay Terran. For Clay. For Clay! You're wasting your breath. Rah! 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 Good for you, Starbuck. Apollo, thank you. I can see things clearly now. Starbuck? I'm fine now. Thanks for reminding me of my life's mission. Right, we'll both be fine. I'll prove you're innocent, you'll see. And after that, we'll get you back into space. Rah! You've ignited the booster rocket of my soul. I'm on fire. I am Solomon Starbuck, astronaut, a cosmic hero chosen by the universe itself. This is no... Oof. Excuse me. This is no time to be whimpering and crying. I can't let you and Clay down. Balderdash. The sun. The moon. All of space is calling to me. Solomon Sol Starbuck. Ready for launch. Begin the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off. What do you do? Well, like a witness an actual rocket launch. Apollo, you did it. You broke Prosecutor Black. You did it. Beautiful for Starbuck. I can't take the credit. It was all Starbuck. He pulled himself through. If you simpletons are done massaging one another's egos. No matter how positive your mood, my advantage remains unshakable. I have but to wait for the final guilty verdict. Isn't that right? Your baldness. Get it up now. I need to stop Blackwell. I need to see this through. Starbuck just has to make it back into space. I won't allow Clay's dream to remain unfulfilled. I've got to destroy Blackwell's argument somehow. Think, Justice, think. If the only people at Launchpad 1 were Clay and Mr. Starbuck, and if Clay was already dead by the time this footage was taken, then the only person who could have killed him is Mr. Starbuck. So the only way to counter Blackwell's argument is if I can prove that Clay was still alive when they arrived at the boarding lounge, in which case I should be able to find some contradiction in the evidence itself. Let's see about this data that we just received. It supposedly proves that Mr. Starbuck dropped Clay's body in Launchpad 1. But if I'm going to prove that false, there's got to be something I can use here. Enough of this farce you're involved in this. Let's have your verdict.
Objection!
Not yet. No, no, no. Prosecutor Blackwell, you seem to be in quite a hurry to rush this verdict. But about this oxygen tank data you submitted just now, it says that Mr. Starbuck's tank had 80% remaining, while Mr. Tarrant's had 0. Do you stand by the accuracy of this report? Of course. Then, I guess it simply means that it's faulty, as evidence goes. You will explain what you mean, young Justice. It's simple. This evidence contradicts the facts of this case. Take a look here at the detailed description and you'll see what I mean. I hope you have some evidence, Mr. Justice, because I don't see what's so contradictory. Let me see. The display on the oxygen showed subject remaining. After the incident, the victim's tank was ruptured and remaining oxygen was 0%. The tank belonging to Starbucks who claims to have been carried. The victim said it was 80% full. Tanks were functioning properly at the time. After the incident, the victim's tank was ruptured and the remaining oxygen was 0%. The tank belonging to Starbuck, who claims to have carried the victim, said it was 80% full. The tanks were functioning properly at the time. Whoops. The defendant, the victim's tank was ruptured, 0% left. The defendant had 80%. Huh. I have no idea what the contradiction is, but damn right I do, Your Honor. Right away. This is the evidence that the oxygen tank reports. Oh, look, it says 50%. And how is this evidence present a contradiction? The problem is this part here. Take this! Note the remaining oxygen in Mr. Starbuck's tank as he carries Mr. Tarrant. It appears to say 50. Yes, but according to the data, our client's tank had 80% remaining. The oxygen in the tank decreased? Uh-huh. I see, Your Honor finds it as strange as I do. It's bad enough that there is a contradiction, but the increase in oxygen is beyond illogical. Oh my, you're absolutely right. What is going on here?
Silence.
I too find odd the oxygen remaining has increased. It would be as odd as if my rations were to increase. But what does that prove? It doesn't change the fact that it is the defendant carrying the victim's corpse.
Objection.
I'm gonna bet you don't get more rations because you don't abide by the rules. Either way, the oxygen remaining shouldn't increase, just as the rations shouldn't increase. Therefore, this new information is critical. We can't overlook it.
Silence.
In that case, you haven't answered this riddle of mysteriously increasing oxygen? You'd better not disappoint, or I'll declare the inconsistency as mere equipment malfunction. Yuck. Prosecutor Blackwell has a point. I guess it could be a simple malfunction. Young Justice, if you cannot provide an adequate counterargument from this point, I'm afraid I must bring this trial to the end. Why am I also increased? Of course I can. I need to turn my thinking around. Starbuck has no memory of it, but he claims to have carried Clay. So this man was 50 on his tank. Ought to be Mr. Starbuck. Right. But if anything, the display on this oxygen tank should have shown 80. This is a clear contradiction between the report and security footage. So what I should be asking is not, why did the oxygen increase? But what had to have happened to make it look like it increased? Making some kind of mistake in my base assumption here? Well, Young Justice, we're waiting. Okay, right, Your Honor. I'm ready to answer. This is why the remaining oxygen appears to have increased. They were going the other way. The victim was carrying the defendant. The tanks were damaged. What? None of these, wait, none of these make sense. What would have caused the tank to, what would have caused the thing to go up? Is that what he said? What would have, what had to happen to make it look like it increased? It was the victim actually carrying the defendant. What if it was the other way around? The other way around. Would you care to explain, Young Justice? As you can see, Your Honor, both men had their helmets on in this footage. But it turns out, this is where our base assumptions went astray. We assumed that it was Mr. Starbucks helping Mr. Turan, but it was the other way around. It wasn't Mr. Starbucks helping Mr. Turan at all. It was Turan who was helping Mr. Starbucks to the boarding lounge. It was what? But I thought Turan's thing was at 0. Everybody relax, everyone relax. Young Justice, you mean to tell me that the person on the right in this image is the victim, Clay Taryn? It's the only way the riddle of the increasing oxygen level can be solved, Your Honor. At this point in time, the remaining oxygen in the victim's tank was at 50%. When the victim was found in the boarding lounge, his tank was at 0%. That's right. Nothing contradictory about that one, but that oxygen was decreasing. Uh-huh. This means Mr. Turan was alive as they made their escape to the lounge.
Silence.
How short your memory is. Have you forgotten what you yourself proposed? Even if the victim was alive at this point in time. How did he descend the ladder with his arms full?
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, you can't hurt me with a broken blade. Excuse me? It's true that we don't know how they got down the ladder. I suppose that matter needs further investigating. But we have proven that Mr. Taryn was alive when he reached the boarding lounge. This fact alone shatters your claims, and opens up the possibility that the victim could have been killed by a third party. There were two people who claimed to be first on the scene, but can we truly trust their statements? Let's see. The two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given the false statement to the police? Yes, it's entirely possible. We have to do a little more digging. It seems like to hear the testimony of these first two people to scene. Hell yeah. Don't think of it. Detective Arm shouldn't be here in court right now. Bailiff, bring her ass in here. Hold it. Whoa! I have an announcement, everyone. What's the meaning of this? We're in the middle of a trial here. Please remain calm and listen carefully. Someone has reactivated the bomb. The bomb was defused, but it's about to explode. Explode! Oh shit, man! Fucking bomb about to go off. It's about to be a bomb in here. It's about to get lit. A bomb? Now? Oh! Oh shit! Everybody run! Ah! I don't want to die! Oh no! Everybody's panicking! Oh shit! We got a bomb! Oh fuck! We gotta get the fuck out of here! Oh shit! We got a bomb about to go off! Oh fuck! I'm trying to die! Oh shit! Ah! Everybody fucking run for your fucking lives! Oh shit! Holy shit! I almost gonna laugh. Headless chicken to death wish, the lot of you. Calm yourselves before all else. Come on, Apollo, let's get the hell out of here. But what about Mr. Starbucks' dream? And who will carry Clay's final wish? None of us will if we get clapped. I don't care what happens to me. I'm not letting some bomb blow up the truth forever. I refuse to let things end here. Apollo, there's no time to be dramatic. If we don't get out of here now, we're gonna fucking die. Come on, this way. Hey, out! Let me go. So, is this Apollo just Juniper? She hasn't evacuated yet? Juniper, are you alright? Apollo, no! Not that way. Ah! So this is when the trial that occurred when the bomb went off. I get it. To be continued.